This week on Storytime at the Roo Bus, the late night lineup has arrived. Let's take a look at it and much more.
Welcome to Storytime at the Roo Bus, a weekly podcast about Bonnaroo and other festivals. I'm your host, Sharla.
Hope you guys are staying warm. I'm Daniel, and I'm here to tell you, I cannot deal with this cold weather. Here in Huntsville, Alabama, it got to like 6 or 7 degrees overnight last night, and I don't care for it.
It was only 5 in Nashville.
Yeah, we got a lot of friends in the Nashville area, so we're thinking about you guys right now. We've seen how hard the ice storm has hit Nashville. We've had a number of friends that have had the power out and trees down in the area, so we've been thinking about you guys. Hope you were pulling through. Hope you got your power back by the time you're watching this.
Right, I've heard from a couple of people that have got their power back on, but I know there's a lot of people still without power up there.
Yeah, it sucks. We were talking about this a while back. Me and Sharla are old enough, unfortunately, to remember this happening in North Alabama back in the 90s a couple of times.
Just say in the 90s.
The 90s, yeah. Not exactly what year, but we remember, you know, how tough this can be. And we've been hearing stories from people in our Discord and otherwise about like how wild of a ride it has been in Nashville this past week. So hope you guys are okay. We're thinking about you. Check in with your friends. Let people know if you need a hand with anything.
Right, it's nothing wrong with letting people know if you need something.
Yeah, speaking of letting people know, our good friend JB, J-Bone, as you may know him, he's been on the show many times. I don't think he'll really care if I edit this into the episode. He sent us all a picture the other day of him in his lifeguard outfit that he wore to the Super Jam that he still went to. They had it after Rue was rained out in Nashville. And he went out to the pool at his apartment when it was covered in ice and snow and was like, where's everybody at? That was pretty good, J-Bone. Good move. I gave him the polar bear challenge to jump in, but he was a smart guy and did not do that.
Thankfully.
Yeah. But yeah, he had the power out. It had no gas heat up in there. So poor guy was sitting there. He told me that the temperature was like 40 something inside his apartment. And we were all telling him like, JB, for the love of God, let us get you a hotel room. But all of those were knocked out. They had no power either.
He said that a lot of the hotels didn't have power. And he said that the ones that did have power, it was mostly families and stuff like that. So, yeah. But he said his power did come back on late last night, which is really good.
Hope that's the case for the rest of you up there. We hope you're doing well. We've been thinking about you. And I'll tell you what, right now is a good time to be thinking ahead about it being like 95 degrees in the shade on a certain farm in Manchester here in about 5 or so months.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
This time of the year, I just don't do well with the cold weather. So, like, I'm kind of thinking ahead about that kind of thing, you know.
You know, the cold doesn't bother me as much as it used to. What really bothers me is, number one, when it's windy. The wind, can't stand it. But what really bothers me, I think more than anything, is when, I guess what you call, or what we in the South call blackberry winter, when it just goes on and on and on. And it's like April, and you're like,
yeah, I thought we were done with this.
You're right.
Yeah, we'll get around to that before too long.
Yeah.
I would do anything for like a 60-something degree day right about now.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is a good time to be thinking ahead. So we got some other stuff we're going to talk about, but let's go ahead and dive right in while we're trying to think warm thoughts and take a look at the after hours lineup that has dropped since we last talked.
I think back in my day, we called this late night.
Yeah, speaking of showing our age.
Really back in my day, we didn't call this anything. You know what we called this back in my day?
What?
Bonnaroo.
That's true. I remember years ago when we were going to our first one in 2013, I had the same question that I think a lot of rookies have. It's like, these are included? Are these additional?
No, you did not have that question. You did.
That was well over a decade ago.
I guarantee you that you never had that question, because up until recently, up until the past few years, it's always been published as one lineup.
Yeah.
Only in the past few years have they published an after hours lineup separately.
Have they? I kind of remember like it's always been. Okay.
I don't think so.
We're going to get fact checked on this.
Me, but I'm pretty sure.
Are we going to have a public podcast disagreement? That I think this has always been the case. They've always published a separate thing letting you know who plays late night.
I don't think so.
At least in the time that we've been going, okay, we're going to keep this in.
I think so. This has only been in the past few years, Daniel.
Okay, well, we're going to find out after the fact. Somebody's going to let us know either way. I may be wrong. You may be wrong.
But
we're going to find out.
We do get, especially on the Reddit, I see question after question, are these included? And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people don't realize that they are included with your ticket. There's not an extra ticket. They don't make you leave Bonnaroo and then come back in with an additional ticket. No, this literally after hours or late night just means shows that play after midnight.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
literally it.
They're just letting you know who's going to be like after the
Right.
headliners are
Mhm.
done. I do remember way back in 2013, it's coincidental, Weird Al was also on the late night lineup then. I was a little confused. I was like, does this mean it's going to be an additional set? And no, it doesn't. They're just going to be playing their set late at night. But let's go ahead and dig into this. We'll find out after the fact who's right about that.
We
I'm
will.
just saying. But let's dig into this, and I'll pull it up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube or whatever. So Friday, we have Turnstile, Major Lazer, Clooney, Lil Jon, and The Dare. And then Saturday, we have Weird Al, Chase and Status, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Gorgon City, Snow Strippers, and OCs. I feel like that's pretty good.
So it says plus late night parties in Bonnaroo every night and more late night acts to be announced.
I think what that may be implying are some of the acts that are going to be playing on this moved UFO stage.
Or they're calling it the Where stage.
The Where, whatever it ends up being called. But you guys know what we're talking about, hopefully, if you've been in the past. So that UFO stage that was in Where in the Woods, if you haven't heard, it's going to be moving to where a certain circular stage that shall no longer be mentioned was last year. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about these acts. Is there anything that is a must-see for a late-night act for you so far?
I must see Lil Jon.
Yeah, same.
Excuse me, do you not know about Jonathan Smith?
Okay.
Someone asked if Lil Jon had an hour, could he fill an hour of music or something like that? And I was like, do you not know about Jonathan Smith, who started performing in the Atlanta clubs in 1991?
I was digging through one of his sets that was, kind of recent in the past year on YouTube, and like songs that he was featured on, he does live.
Oh.
So there's a lot that implies.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a lot of fun
that's
stuff.
Gonna be, yeah.
He's got a lot that he can go through. I do think it's going to be a little similar to what we had in the past couple of years with these type of acts. So there's a lot that we can get into later about that. But that is a must-see. I think if I have to, I'm going to have to bounce back and forth between Turnstile and Lil Jon if they absolutely overlap. That's going to be a tough one for me, but that's a fun.
I'd pick Lil Jon.
I mean, those are two very different vibes. I want to go see the chaos of Turnstile because I did get to witness a little bit of that a couple of years ago, and it is fun. But also, like, I got to be there for things like Turn Down for What or whatever,
Okay, I only realized recently, very recently, that it's 369 damn shoot fine.
What did you think it was?
I was saying 869.
Well, I can understand why that might be confusing. Why those particular numbers? We were there for all this. This is of our generation. We should know this. Let's do a little Googling after the fact.
I've been singing it for like 20 years wrong.
Yeah. I am also a little interested in the Dare, but that's going to kind of be like, if I happen to get there, I'm going to see it. If it doesn't overlap with those other two shows, I'll go. But I think my main priority is going to be seeing a good bit of Turnstile and being there for a lot of the Lil Jon party as well. You want to go ahead and jump to Saturday?
Sure. Obviously, Weird Al.
Yeah, Weird Al is the must-see. Like, everything else is secondary to him. That is supposedly going to be kind of a cool deal because they have gone out of their way to bill it a little bit differently than just saying it's going to be a Weird Al show. It's bigger and weirder, late night review. Nobody really knows what that means yet. In fact, as of a month ago, I asked Bonnaroo, like, hey, does this kind of imply that it's going to be something, different, crazy or whatever that he's not doing on his regular tour? And I haven't asked since then, but as of a month ago, they were like, we don't know. So it could be up to Al, and in Al, I trust.
Weird Al is extensively touring this summer, so hopefully this will be something a little bit different than his regular tour, so to speak. But if you've never seen a Weird Al show, you are in for a treat. Each song is a different show per se. I mean, it's a different stage setup. I mean, it's a different performance. Each song is kind of like its own little musical act.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff to kind of cover the time, and I don't want to give too many spoilers. If you haven't seen a Weird Al show, it's kind of best if you don't look up spoilers on YouTube, but I will say they do a lot of video stuff so they can do like costume changes and stuff. I think that's safe to say, but I don't want to tell you anymore, and I imply you not to look up anymore. It's better if you're surprised. It is kind of a little bit more of a stage show in addition to a regular concert.
So a lot of people were asking for a Gorgon City sunrise set, and Bonnaroo did confirm that in a comment as a reply to someone on Instagram. After the after hours lineup dropped, after they dropped that, someone asked about it. I don't remember exactly what they said, but Bonnaroo commented with something like 5 a.m. at Bonnaroo or something.
That's one of their songs.
well,
Not at Bonnaroo, but you know.
Someone said, "Oh no, that's just they're just making a reference to 5 a.m. at Bagley's." But no, I think that's just a clever way for them to confirm a sunrise set by Gorgon City.
Yeah.
Last year, in 2025, Gorgon City was scheduled for 2:15 to 5:15 a.m. I saw a few people asking, well, what time is Gorgon City playing? Does this mean they stop at 5 a.m. or are they going to start at 5 a.m.? We don't know the schedule yet. We won't know that, until it actually comes out, until it's actually printed. Hell, we may not even know till we get on the farm. Like, everything's always in flex and it's changing, so we don't know that specific. But I think with that comment, they did confirm a Gorgon City sunrise set.
Yeah, so 2 things. I think new-ish people were wondering if that's official, if Bonnaroo kind of like half jokes in the comments. Yeah, they will confirm things in the comments every now and then. You can probably take that seriously. So like we've gotten to know Corey and know kind of like how he and his team operate. Yeah, they'll confirm stuff if they can get away with it. They kind of have a lot of elasticity when it comes to that sort of thing. There is a rigid schedule in terms of like what they schedule on social media, but extra little tidbits like that, yeah, they'll throw us a bone and let us know. So you can take that seriously. I do think that's what that means, that Gorgon City will be playing a sunrise set.
So it doesn't mention Thursday on here.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like there might be a reason for that. That seems to imply to me that Skrillex is going to be going like late. I kind of get the feeling, and this isn't based on any conversation that I've had with anybody, but just kind of getting the vibes, I feel like Skrillex is essentially going to be given the keys and just be told like, hey, turn everything off when you're done. I think this is a show that a lot of people have asked for years. Bonnaroo is putting a lot of faith in him by giving him like kind of the headliner slot on Thursday, similar to what we did with Luke Combs and then Pretty Lights the year before that. And this is being billed as like a big opening party. I do think that they are putting a lot of trust in his team to do something cool, to go like a little late, like to do a very extended set. I don't know how many of you have followed Skrillex like really closely, and I'm not saying that I have, but I have seen, through the festival reporting this the past couple of years, Skrillex will play like really long shows at places like Red Rocks when it's his show and he's featured. Since this is basically going to be his show Thursday night, I'm coming in with the expectation that that's probably going to happen. I also don't think, this is just me speculating, this isn't based on any information, I don't think it's impossible that there may be some kind of like somewhat special stage setup. A couple of years ago, Fred again had that like scissor lift out there in front of the sound booth. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy, but I think something along the scale of that, maybe just a little more, isn't impossible. And again, that isn't based on anything I've heard. That's just me speculating. So don't go saying like Daniel said, this is just me guessing along with you, just like everybody is on Reddit and Discord and InfoRoo. Is there anything in particular that you would like to see on Thursday?
No, I think that would be great. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty cool because there's a lot of factors that I think will make this very special. So there aren't going to be any day tickets sold for Thursday, and everybody's going to be in that one spot on the wet field. This kind of situation has never really happened before, where you have like just the diehards, nothing against people who are coming in just for one day, all in one place, which has never really happened. I think that could make for a really special recipe on Thursday night. We'll see. It's hard to forecast the vibes, but I'm feeling the chances are very good in this case.
Oh, definitely. I agree.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
And I'll give you my answer to this question so you got time to think about it. Like, what would you say are some of your favorite late night shows that you've ever seen on the farm?
STS9.
Yeah, they're always fun.
Yeah.
There's a couple that stand out to me. I mean, I'm not even going to like count Tame Impala in 2016 because for me that doesn't count. That's just way above everything else. But I would also say like Portugal the Man in 2017. That was a really special show. They were like melting faces that night. That was amazing. I would also say King Gizzard in 22. Again, that almost shouldn't even count because that was so fun. I was devastated that I couldn't go see Disclosure. They were playing at the exact same time as King
I'm
Gizzard.
gonna be real. If I'm up that late, I'm just going to show after show after show, and I don't even know who's playing.
That's kind of sometimes the case for me. Another highlight for me was bouncing back and forth between My Morning Jacket and Korn a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
yeah, that was fun.
That was a wild night. I think I've told a couple of people this story. I was kind of on another level that night. Somehow I ended up in the pit for both My Morning Jacket and Korn in the space of like a half hour.
It's that meme with the girls fighting and the guy in the background.
No, that meme was when Paramore opened for the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about something about that. So when Paramore opened for the Foo Fighters, it was this confluence of like two separate kind of social groups. So you got a certain crowd that's going to see Paramore, and then a certain crowd that's going to see the Foo Fighters. And as has sometimes been the case at Bonnaroo, there can be confusion between pit lines. Like, hey, are you going to see this? Are you going to see that? And they kind of intermingle. So it's kind of like when you go to the high school cafeteria and you got like the ball players over here, the stoners over here. It's sometimes like that for like the pit lines. And listen, all respect to like the ultra hardcore fans of Paramore. They were passionate about getting in the line. And things, I don't want to say they got heated, but they got like intense that night. That's all I'll say. And I will say that meme is extremely accurate for the vibe in that pit line that night. But you've seen this before. There was one year where we were trying to get in the pit for Odessa, and Post Malone was playing the same night. And look, Posty, he's like one of the most adorable people ever, but like some of his fans, they are also ultra passionate. So that confluence of two lines got a little wild. Can you think of any example where that's ever
I
happened?
have a very good story about the Paramore line, but
Yeah.
unfortunately it's not suitable for this podcast.
Oh.
But it's hilarious.
We could potentially do that on a Patreon only thing.
Okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. You're going to have to tell me when we're not recording. But yeah, for those of you new, like the late night stuff, or after hours as they want to call it these days, is when things get like freaky, like in a fun way. Like during the day, you know, we're all going to shows. Things are slightly chill. They get a lot more energetic once the sun starts going down. Then you got like all the epic excitement of a headliner. But like after the headliner's done, and then you head over to the other side of Sinru, or I guess in the back of the what field this year, since that, you know, that tent is going to be moved back there. Things get a little wild. Like all the crazy totems with lights come out, people with costumes come out. You'll just have to see for yourself. It's kind of something that I don't think we can necessarily verbalize. You know, what's some of your other favorite late night memories?
Oh God. Well, back in 2014, the last time Skrillex played.
Yeah.
Was that 14? Okay. I went to bed
Yeah, we talked about
at
this a
9
couple
o'clock.
episodes ago.
At 9 o'clock.
You messed up.
Yeah.
That was a fun
All my
night.
memories are either, see, I'm like, I'm going to go to bed at 9 o'clock or I'm going to stay up to the sunrise, and there's no in between.
I've only made the sunrise once when Pretty Lights did that sunrise set for a second set a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
No, that's the only time I did. When else did you?
I've done sunrise a lot of times.
Well, give me an
A
example.
bunch of times. I can't give you an example because my brain does not work like
Oh.
other people's brains. People will be like, well, in 2021, when blah, 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 palm leaf, teacup, salt band was playing at 3:23 p.m., I was taking a walk. And I'm like, how do you remember that?
Yeah, how do you even remember that?
I was looking at the kitchen spot.
You're just like doing random word association of things you're looking at. So yeah, we can name a band that.
I don't know, but like there's been multiple years when I came back to the bus and but everybody was asleep. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm just hanging out by myself.
I gotta conserve energy. I'll give you guys a tip. Like my rule of thumb has always been like I go hard in the paint one night. I pick like either Friday or Saturday where I know I want to stay up as late as I can as my body and mind will allow me to. And the other night, like I'll turn in relatively early. Like if I'm going to go hard Saturday, I'll turn in about like 2, maybe 3 on the other night. Think about that. And I know, you know, like I said, Skrillex is probably going to go late Thursday. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Big tip. Marathon, not a sprint. So last year I was like, I'm just going to take it easy these first few days. Just going to take it easy these first few days. Boom.
What happened? What happened during the boom?
Last year, Daniel.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you meant last year. Yeah, well, we're not going to have that issue as we talked
Hopefully
about
not.
before.
I mean-
No. I think we're going to be okay. But yeah, for newbies, I will reiterate, like, our friends are throwing the Wednesday pre-party out in group, and then Skrillex is playing Thursday. Don't go too hard on Wednesday and Thursday. I urge you, have a good time, go a little wild, but conserve your energy for like Friday and Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Go.
Seriously,
The
guys.
whole weekend.
All right, Charlotte, we could go on forever about late night stories. We could fill like a whole couple of episodes with that.
could.
In fact, you know what we should do? Get a couple of guests or get people to write into us and tell us some of their crazy late night stories to have on the show. Because like me and you have like over a decade's worth of them, but it would be great to hear some of other people's stories.
Hey, guys, I think we're going to get people to write into us, and we just tell their stories on this at Storytime at the Ruba.
Yeah, I do want to hear those stories.
Wasn't that our original idea?
I mean,
2019.
yeah, we get back to that every now and then, but we'll follow up with you next week on that. We're going to do that Atlanta episode, but like we'll have some information on how you can do that. I do want to do that. I do want to have people write into us and tell us your craziest late night stories. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll figure out the how and why and when and where of that between now and next week. So we'll get back with you on that. But for now, we do want to call out our Patreon. So we are starting to get a couple of new listeners and viewers. So for those of you that are coming this year, welcome. We're so glad to have you at Rue. But also, we do a Patreon. So at patreon.com/Rebus, you can subscribe. About once a month or so, we do some Patreon-only episodes with tea every now and then, just letting you know.
We did one the other day.
Yeah,
A little
so
bit of tea.
check your inbox if you haven't already. And every cent goes to the Totem Foundation. We're having our event in Atlanta this coming weekend. We do a lot of scholarships. We do mentorships. Go to totemfnd.org to learn more. Charlotte's going to list off everybody that has pitched in via the Patreon.
Jordan, Alyssa, Imani, Bradley, Jared, Olivia, Claire, John, Lexi, Danny, Lisa, Butter Crew, Nick, Delaney, John, Brady, I Am Rave Dad, Courtney, Casey with Texas Rue Crew, Christy, Jums, David and Aurora, Stringbean, Zach and Jeremy, Amber, JB, Sam, Austin, James, Hygiene Queen, Chris and Shy, Dan, Ernst, Harris, Keith, Casey, Perry, Nick, Maddie, Bruce, Andrew, Kent, Randy, Papa Josh, Bosco, Eric and Ben, Evan, Chloe, and Sean.
Thank you, everyone. Again, you can find that at patreon.com/Rebus and learn more about Totem at totemfnd.org. So again, Atlanta, this coming weekend, Saturday night, 5 to 8, Scofflaw Brewing over there in the northeast corner of Atlanta. We hope to see you there if you're in town.
And we are trying to raise funds to send 6 scholars to Bonnaroo in 2026. That's called our 6 in 26 campaign. If Patreon's not your thing, we do accept donations via our website. So totemfnd.org.
Yeah, there's a button there. And just a heads up, the scholarship application thing is still open. Thank you to Bonnaroo that published that for us this past week. We got a lot of new applications. How many did we get after they published that?
So we actually doubled our applications when Rue posted it, which is super awesome.
That's awesome. And we'll be doing more with that soon. The applications close at the end of February, right?
Correct.
So
February the 28th, the last day.
Got about a month to go. So if you got somebody that would be a good candidate for that scholarship, check the rules and everything on the website and get them to apply. Pro tip, the essay is the thing that probably gets paid the most attention. So make sure they write something pretty good for that to be considered.
Yes.
All right. I did want to do a weekly pick. There was one main thing I wanted to talk about, but if you got anything else, I want to hear it. I wanted to follow up since we finished season 1 of The Pitt. We talked about that, I think, last week.
I actually wrote that down.
Did you? Okay. That was mainly the one thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it was like last week, a couple weeks ago, I can't remember, when we actually recommended The Pitt. And we had got up to episode 10 of The Pitt. And we're like, yeah, you should go watch the show. Da, 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 da. And then we hit episode 11. I'm going to say this in the nicest way.
Yeah.
Besties, this show may not be for us.
Okay, so I'm going to put it this way. We rarely do this on this show, but what I'm going to do is give you a heads up that we're going to talk spoilers for season 1 of The Pitt. So
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for season 1 of The Pitt, forward maybe about 3 or 4 minutes through this so you don't hear what we're going to talk about. Also, if you are sensitive to
trigger warning. Big trigger warning.
I don't want to give you what the trigger warning is about because it would spoil it. but just be warned if you're a little squeamish about certain situations, you also might want to skip ahead about like 3 to 5 minutes. What I'll do if you're watching on YouTube is I'll wave at you like this to let you know that we're done with the spoilers. Okay, so here we go.
So, spoiler. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we get up to episode 11, and Daniel had kind of saw this coming because in the background of multiple episodes, there's a lot of people that are talking about, Pitt Fest. It's a local music festival that's going on.
I think it's fictional in the show.
Yeah, it's fictional. Yeah, but it's called Pitt Fest. The show is in Pittsburgh, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I had a great time when I was there last year or 2 years ago.
Cool city. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're talking about Pitt Fest and the main character, his ex-girlfriend's son is there and whatever. Okay, so to make a long story short, there is a mass casualty event at this music festival, unfortunately. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want YouTube to take the video down, but there's a mass casualty event and they have to bring everyone into the ER, to the emergency room. And it just really...
It was tough. Like,
got you to thinking,
Yeah.
Like, it was really tough to watch.
It was hard. I do think it was important to watch it so you know what happens for people in the healthcare field when a situation like that arises. But it was tough for me seeing people coming in with like outfits that I've seen at festivals or candy on their wrist or whatever.
I think that's when it hit me, was they brought in someone who looked identical to someone who's very, very prominent and popular and recognizable that we would know.
Yeah.
They brought in people, like Daniel said, was wearing candy on their arms. They brought in a food vendor. So, I mean, they got it pretty spot on.
Yeah. And like, I do feel like it was realistic in facing like what would happen in a situation like that, because look, it sucks. We live in a reality where something like that is something that you have to think about. It made me wonder, like, okay, what would be my instinct if there was a situation like that at, any festival? It doesn't matter where. Security is great at these places, sometimes a little overbearingly, but that's a good thing, I think, when you think about it in this context. But you still have to have like kind of a plan B in your own head. Like, how am I going to keep me, my family, my crew safe if something like that happens? So yeah, I love the show, but watching that was just like, whoa, it was a lot. And it was like, obviously really close to home, since it was, fictionally portraying like people that we have all gotten to know. We know those type of people that would be in that situation. And we were both like, man, this is a lot,
Right. I agree.
And like, we even got to talking, me and Sharla we had to like chill after one of those episodes. And we were like, okay, God forbid, what if this happened on the farm? Like, is there a hospital that you can get to quickly enough in like Murfreesboro where they have to go all the way to Nashville? I don't even want to think too much about it, but it was hard for those questions not to come up after we saw that episode. But okay, spoilers are over now. I'll put a little thing at the bottom, maybe. Spoilers are over. Hello, we're back. I will say, even though what we just talked about in spoilers was a tough watch, man, I love that show. There's so many aspects of it. It talks about leadership. It talks about encouraging young people. It really puts the spotlight on healthcare workers, which have faced like hell in the past 5 years. And I already had tremendous respect for them, but even more so now after seeing a show that portrays it, from what I've heard, realistically. And man, like I said, some of it's tough to watch, but I totally recommend it.
We've started the second season now, and the show, it's not just about working in healthcare. It's about working in general, and it like really teaches, I know it sounds silly, but it really teaches you like how to be a good leader. And it's almost like helped me do a better job at my regular day-to-day job. And it inspires me to be a better leader with Totem and just the things that we do. Like, I know that's kind of weird to say, but
no, I think the lead character that Noah Wiley plays, Dr. Robbie, is like a great TV example, like TV dad almost. He's very daddy. But like, he reminds me of like Hawkeye Pierce from MASH, because like, obviously the scenarios are a little similar. Like somebody that is very principled, somebody that is human and still has mistakes, but somebody that you can like still look up to.
So I've never personally worked in a hospital, let me say that. So I don't know like the inner workings of that aspect of that field. But I think he's a very, very, very good example of what a very good manager should be for like for every industry out there. I mean, I love it when someone comes to him with one of his employees comes to him with a problem, an issue. He says, "What is your plan?"
That's smart.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can tell that it was influenced by like real stories of
Yes.
people
Oh,
in the
yeah.
healthcare industry. And for reasons we talked about in spoilers and like for reasons I talked about when we first started watching it, like, man, I know we have a lot of Rubians that are in the healthcare field. Y'all are doing great work. Like, we already knew you were, but seeing this realistic portrayal, like, we got all the respect in the world for y'all, man. It's amazing. But did you have any other picks? I knew we wanted to talk about that, obviously, for the spoilery reasons.
I think that one was heavy enough.
Yeah.
I can save my other one for next week.
Yeah, same. I had something else I want to talk about, but that was plenty on that.
Yeah.
All right. Again, one last time. I'm going to hit that broken record one more time. This Saturday, Atlanta, Scofflaw Brewing, 5 to 8. We hope to see you there. Maddie, good friend of the show, person at Bonnaroo you should totally know because he loves the place and puts so much blood, sweat, and tears into everything he does there. He has put this together. He has some silent auction items going up. One of them is a badass King Gizzard record. You should come bid on that. I might. I don't know. I don't know if that like is ethically appropriate.
You can only bid in person.
Yeah, so you got to be there. So we hope to see you guys in Atlanta next week. I think the week after that, you and I will be calling remotely over Riverside because I will be down in Florida for fun reasons. We'll talk about that. Talk to me about it in person. I got to be careful what I say these days. All right, but again, a lot of cool stuff coming up. This will probably be one of the last episodes from our house for a while. Yeah, because think about it. Because like Atlanta, I'm going to be working. Me and you are going to Thailand before too long. We're going to be traveling a little bit here and there. So some guest episodes are coming up. Some different kind of episodes are coming up because me and Sharla are traveling a lot. There's a dog on the couch. He shouldn't be. So it's time for us to go. We're going to get him off the couch. We're going to go eat dinner. So we'll see you soon. Get out there and radiate positivity.
Bye.